nagaraj@telerik.com, and I'm available at Twitter at this Twitter handle. If you want to know more about me, you can go to about.me/Kashyapa. So this is my short URL, and you can pretty much go to this particular URL if you want to know more. If you want to know more about myself, if you want to write to me at my official email ID, so this is my official email ID. That's lohit.nagaraj@telerik.com. So you can write to us if you want more info, on this or anything. And couple of the website that you should be knowing is Telerik.com. That's our global corporate website. If you want to know more about the product itself, you can pretty much go there. My screen is not completely shown. I think it's fine. I think it's coming okay. Another website that you may want to keep track is TelerikHelper.net. Sorry. So TelerikHelper.net. Telerik.com is our global corporate website, and then TelerikHelper.net is the website that myself and my colleagues, we keep writing. About Telerik and how to do some certain things in Telerik and all those things. I have my personal blog site at kashyapas.com. So if you just go here, so I mostly write about ASP.NET and mostly on the ASP.NET. So let me get so this is the. Yeah, I know my resolution is screwed up, so thank you. I'm not able to reset it now, so I'll try to make sure that now I'm looking at the audience view, and then I'll make sure that you will be able to see that. So what I've done now is to just give you those 3 URLs, that you should bookmark. TelerikHelper.net if you want to know more about these webinars. So these webinars are conducted almost every Thursday in the month, and then it's 3 to 4 p.m. India Standard Time. So you want to know more about the webinar schedules and all those things. What you can do is you can always go to www.telerik.helper.net, and if you go to this website, pretty much there are plenty of articles here. So I keep writing mostly on the. So I keep writing most of the stuff here. So is my colleagues here. So you can pretty much come here and then have a look at all the articles. If you want to know the schedule, so they will normally put up the schedule. Currently it's November is up. You can go to the categories called webinars, and then all this announcement will be there in the announcement. And I usually write a recap blog post of this particular webinar, and in the recap blog post we'll have the video recording, and then we'll also have the the slide deck. So this time there's no slide deck. I'm not using any slide deck, so pretty much it's going to be like practical today. So having said that, this is the website. Telerik.com is another website that you want to know, and then if you want to know more about me, it's about.me/Kashyapa or kashyapas.com. So today, a couple of things that we're going to be doing. One is to take a look at SharePoint online. The idea here is so I'm going to be using SharePoint Online because it's hosted. I have an account on SharePoint Office 365, so it's easier. I don't have to, and I didn't have to build any VM and then put SharePoint or use Azure and then have the VM there, all those things. So with SharePoint Online, it is hosted, so I have the access to that. I have my own website here. So my SharePoint Online is Kashyapas Inc. Sharepoint.com. So this is what I'm going to be using as a playground today. Let me in fact go there. So if I come back here and then do a kashyapasinc.sharepoint.com, so it's going to take me to that Office 365 hosted. So as you can see, I have to enter my credentials. So I'm going to enter my credentials. So this is .onmicrosoft.com and enter my password. So as you can see, I have my own playground. So this says Kashyapas Inc. team site or whatever it is. So idea here is, I have a partners. What I've done is, let's assume a use case wherein you use your SharePoint to manage your partners. Okay, let's say that you have an employee who's on the field. He meets a partner. He wants to quickly make sure that he enters the partner's details with to your partner's list that you have here. You can see that I already have around 3 items. I was just playing around. So for my demos, preparing for the demo, so I was just playing around and put up just a simple 3 items here, 3 records here. So the business case or the use case in the real world is, so this is a partner's list, and then your employees or your business people who are on the field, they want to be able to enter immediately when they meet somebody that, hey, I met this guy, this is his name, phone number, email address, so that they keep track of things. So this is the okay. So now how do you make sure that this is also available on a mobile app, right? So that is the whole premise of here. So this is SharePoint. This is a list, and pretty much how do I make use of this in a in a mobile app? So if what I'm going to be using is I believe. I'm not a SharePoint guy, but I believe I think it was around SharePoint 2010 or so that all the lists were made OData. I'm a big proponent of OData. I like OData because it is simpler in terms of consumption, and then even for a producer it is so easy. The protocol has a lot of things that it defines for the consumers, like this is the way you can use a protocol to communicate data or exchange data between two systems. So what SharePoint does is, if I go to my site _layouts 15 if I go to _VTI bin and I say list data .svc, what happens is this particular SharePoint now is going to list all the lists that I have in my SharePoint as a OData service. So what you're seeing is known as a root service root URI or a service document. Of course, the OData protocol is all about 2 things. One is either an Atom XML representation or a JSON representation. So I can pretty much come back I can open up another browser or here. So I will not be able to compose a request here, but if I am able to compose a request and then send a header which says, hey, content type I am looking, or I accept only application/JSON, then this whole root document is going to come back to me as a JSON payload. Now remember, I just showed you the partners that I had created. So here it is, the list that I had created. If you see here, it's highlighted. So let me just increase my font size maybe. So if you see here, I had shown you that I had created partners in the SharePoint site. So this is available to me as a list itself. So now I can come back here and then say /partners, and there you go. So what is happening is, it is giving me all the data, but what IE is doing is IE is able to understand that this is an Atom XML, so it is trying to put a style sheet on that and then trying to show you a very neat way of looking at the data. But let's say I'm going to take this, open up maybe a Chrome. I use Chrome because in this scenario, because Chrome, what it does is it's going to give me an XML representation, Atom XML. It doesn't style it. So what I will do is I'll come back here and then do the same thing. He's going to ask me, okay, as you can see here, I've already authenticated, my credentials are cached in this one. So what just happened was I just went to partners, and here you can see the whole data coming down to me in an Atom XML format. If you see here, I have the the first name, Lohit, the last name, address, all those things have been put up. So that's the first one. Second data is partner 2 here, and then the third. So we remember we had around 3 rows. So this is the partner 3 FN. So this pretty much is kind of a primer to you, all of you who if you have already known this, well and good. So this is the backbone of what we're going to do today. That is, how do you mobilize your SharePoint data? So first thing that I want to do is to go to Visual Studio. So now comes an interesting thing. I'm going to be making use of Visual Studio as a tool of choice for today's webinar. So I'm going to be doing most of the stuff using the Visual Studio way, and then I'll also use something known as Kendo UI Mobile. So let me maybe this is a good time to talk about Kendo UI Mobile. So Kendo UI Mobile is our, let's say I'm going to www.telerik.com/Kendo-UI. So Kendo UI is a HTML5. Okay, I missed something. Kendo UI is a HTML5 based cross-platform, sorry, HTML5 based client-side JavaScript UI. Let me think you guys are not able to see completely. So let me resize my browser. Yeah, there you go. So if you go to this particular URL, which is www.telerik.com/Kendo UI. So that's the tool set that I'll be using. What's special with Kendo UI is that Kendo UI has a mobile control framework or mobile control set, and what this control set does is it pretty much has a 15 to 20 widgets. So let me just show you the widgets that we have. So let's go to demos.telerik.com/Kendo UI. So here you will see that we have a mobile section, and then in fact Kendo UI is three things. One is web widgets, data visualization widgets, and then complete hybrid mobile framework. When I say hybrid, if you know HTML, JavaScript, and CSS, you'll be able to develop a mobile app, and it's known as a hybrid mobile app because you're using HTML as the front end, JavaScript as the coding logic area, field, and then this CSS as the styling, technology. So if you look at the last column there, so that's the mobile. So we have complete mobile controls, around 20 controls are available, plus a complete mobile framework that we have. Just so that you guys know, just a little bit of housekeeping. If you have any question, please go ahead and then use the Q&A panel that we have, and then just log it. I may not be able to answer it when I'm doing the presentation, but what I will do is I'll try my best to, at the end cover all those things, and then we'll take a look at that. So this is the control set that we'll be using. So let me just get things. So first is SharePoint. Second is, of course, I'm going to be using Visual Studio 2013, and then I will also be using a very specific extension known as multi-platform hybrid apps extension. So this is completely free. I'll show you where the extension is, and then of course the tool that I will be using to create a mobile app will be Kendo UI, in specific the mobile control set. So this is the three things that's going to make. These are the three things that you need in order to make sure that you are mobilizing your Sharepoint data. I'm talking about hybrid mobile apps here because with hybrid mobile apps, what happens is you can pretty much write the code once using Kendo UI mobile controls, and the Kendo UI mobile controls have a very fantastic feature called as cross-platform adaptive rendering, meaning you write the code once, but when you package for a platform, it's going to take the look and feel of that platform. You do not have to do anything in the code. Rather, you just focus on your functionality. You just focus on using which control should be used at what specific function, screen, and the rest of the things is done by Kendo. Kendo, what it does is it looks at the platform. If the platform is Android, it will completely theme your application to look like Android. It's dark, blackish shade of everything. And then if it is running in iOS 7, it's going to give you the flat theme that you have, that the iOS 7 has. If it is running in BlackBerry, it's going to give you the blue shade of the BlackBerry. If it is running in iPhone 5 or 6, the previous versions iPhone, they had a typical bluish background. So it will automatically style it, or it will automatically provide you that adaptive rendering or native looking UI, and then you don't have to worry about doing anything for that. All you need to do is take care of your functionality. So today what we'll try to do is use all these three and then try to see how we can create a mobile app. So I've already gone ahead and then downloaded Kendo UI Mobile. As you can see here, Kendo UI Mobile is available as a free 30-day trial. You can always go to www.telerik.com/Kendo-UI and then download the the package. It's a 30-day free trial available, and it will contain the mobile controls. And then these are the demos. If you want to take a look at it, you want to know more. I know for sure in the webinar I'm going to be just jumping around, trying to create things faster. But if you want to go take a look at it in your leisure time, what you can do is go through this mobile demos that we have. Click on any of these things, it will open up a demo, and the source code is available there itself. You can know how to do that. So that's the control set that I'll be using. And then let's see, I'm going to go to Visual Studio Gallery.com, Visual Studio Gallery.msdn.com, and I will search for multi-platform hybrid apps. Up, where did it go? Let me open up it in the Visual Studio itself. So I have Visual Studio 2013 as of now. So let me get my Visual Studio to view. I know it's getting cut, so don't worry. You know, the main area is pretty much right in the view for you guys, and then that's where the code will come. So now, in order to work with this, what you need to do is go to tools, extensions and updates, and if I look at my tools here, where did it go? Hybrid apps. Yeah, multi-device hybrid apps for Visual Studio. If I click on more information, it's going to take me to that particular download page here. It was not, Visual Studio tools for Apache Cordova, so that's the way, it was announced in build this year. What you can do is you can pretty much go download this. This is actually an extension. If you see here, download is here, and you can pretty much download this, and you can see all the getting started, all those things. If you download this extension is free. It sits on Visual Studio. You can have I'm not sure if it is supporting 2012, but I'm using 2013, and you guys should be on 2013 because it's cool. So this is what we have. You should install this first. What it does is it gives you a project template for creating a multi-device hybrid apps for Visual Studio. Pretty much it is using the bare bone whatever vanilla HTML control set. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace that, or we're going to use Kendo UI control sets in order to build our UI, but I'm just using this project template that this particular extension provides. So you need to have SharePoint first. Be ready with that. So I have my SharePoint at that particular URL that I told you. Then you need to have Visual Studio 2013 and have this extension, multi-platform hybrid apps. And then you need to have Kendo UI Mobile. So I've already downloaded Kendo UI Mobile onto my hard disk. I already have installed the multi-platform hybrid apps extension. I have Visual Studio 2013. I have my SharePoint ready. So let's start get working now. First thing that you need to do is come to Visual Studio and then say File, New Project. And you should see that you won't find this under Visual C# or Visual Basic. Rather, what you need to do is you got to pick up other languages. If you see here, then you will have JavaScript, expand that, then you will have multi-device hybrid apps. And then if you see here, it says blank app, Apache Cordova, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretty much go ahead, let's say SP mobile app or something like that. And I'm going to say OK, and then it's given a path. I'm going to say OK. Now what it's going to do is go ahead and create a folder structure for me, add up pretty much a couple of things that is required. As you can see, they bring up a nice README. It says this extension provides you with Visual Studio templates optimized to build apps with JavaScript or TypeScript. So it also provides you support for TypeScript. Let me bring my Solution Explorer into the view. So if you see here, what it has done is it has gone ahead and then given you a structure, but it pretty much has CSS folder and then the script. So it has certain index.js and then platform.override, and then I also have index.html. So that's just the structure of the thing. So let me get the Solution Explorer off the way. And let me increase the font. Let's say I'll make it to 200%. I hope you guys can see it. That's a little too much, so let me make it 150. Yeah, this should be better. So there's nothing as of now here. It says, hello, your application is ready. It is referencing the Cordova.js, and then it's referencing the scripts platform over and then index.js. There's nothing much happening here. So now one interesting thing they have done is, if you notice my run here, it says Ripple Nexus. So what it is doing is it's saying that, hey, currently you have the configuration that this project is set up is for Android, so I can give you an emulator. The emulator is from Ripple. It's known as Ripple emulator. I'm doing an F5 now. It's going to just go ahead, and then I selected the Ripple Nexus yes as the emulator, so I just said F5 now. So it's building. So what it's going to do is open up a browser, and in the browser we'll have a Ripple emulator coming up now. So that's what you see there. So there is the browser that came up, and any moment now you guys should be able to see Ripple emulator. So that's it. So now what I can do is I can click on this left hand side where there is a lot of emulation option available. So if you see here, I can say Q10, it refreshes, and you can see that, oh, this is how it renders in Q10. And then I can select, let's say HTC, which one should I, let me select an Apple one. So iPhone 5, and you can see that everywhere it is working. So that's pretty much this is just an emulator, as the name goes by. It just emulates that particular platform, and it is known as a Ripple. So what has happened is your project has been built, and if you look at the output here, oh, I think we lost the output. Okay, build. Yeah, if you look at the output here, let me bring the output. Now, a lot of things are happening in the output window. What it is doing is, basically when you do an F5, it is actually kind of going ahead doing the build. PhoneGap is the cross-platform build that you will do, and then it builds it and then pushes onto the Ripple emulator, and it's like hosting, or it's like deploying the app onto the emulator. So that's what it does. You don't have to worry about that. Just do an F5, emulator comes up, and then you can start emulating the app. So let me close down my output, and next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and then get my the Kendo UI that I set. So let me just get the Kendo UI into the project. So my Kendo UI is in Programs, Telerik, Kendo UI. So I don't need everything. So what I will do is, in my Solution Explorer, I'm just going to go ahead and then let me dock it to the left today, the Solution Explorer, since you guys can't see it correctly. Let me see, do I get enough viewing area? Yeah, so I can just collapse this a little bit, and we should be able to make some room for the code view. There you go. So what I'm going to do is I will just go ahead and then pretty much, okay, let me do that later. There's one extra step that I need to let you guys know. So now we have set up the project type or project template. So this is fine. So this is all done. So now how do I connect to SharePoint, right? So what SharePoint does is it pretty much has, so if you see here, I was able to get to the list data.svc, right? So basically, in order to gain access into SharePoint, you would need to use SharePoint's OAuth authentication, or you will use OAuth authentication with the SharePoint access server, ACS, access control server, and then get a token. And in every communication from there onwards, what you will do is pass the token in the header as an authorization, header, and SharePoint will look at the token that you have, and then that token will, basically that token tells you who you are and then what rights you have. It's basically an authorization that the end user has given. For the scenario is SharePoint, so you are on a mobile, so and somebody else has developed an application. Let's say an employee A has this application on his mobile, but the application is developed by, let's say, in a particular team, right? So now the application has to communicate on behalf of employee A with the SharePoint. So what you will now typically do is the application will bring up what we call as a OAuth consent or OAuth login screen. Basically, the user will be presented with the login screen. User has to authenticate himself. Once he authenticates himself, the SharePoint will say, hey, you know what, this particular application would like to communicate with SharePoint or with your site on behalf of you, and then they are asking for these many rights. So you as an end user of the application can say like, yeah, I trust this, go ahead, give them the the access. So once you do that, your application will get a token back. So that is nothing but what we call as OAuth token, and if you have that, from then onwards, whenever application communicates with SharePoint, it's as if like the employee is communicating with SharePoint. So that's how pretty much you do the OAuth way of authorization and authentication. So now I've done that. So in order to get an application working with SharePoint, we need to register that application with SharePoint. So for that, what this particular the Visual Studio project template gives you is, I just have to right click on the project and go to the context menu called add. So I hope you're able to see that. So if I right click on the project and go to add, I have a menu item here which says connected service. That is the key here. So what this project template does is it gives you this concept of connected service. You can connect this particular mobile application with Azure Mobile Service, or you can connect with Office 365 REST APIs. So I'm going to click on connected service here, and if you see here it says, hey, yeah, so I also have the Azure node here. So basically Azure node is nothing but the mobile service. I have the Office 365 API node here. So this is something that came out this year. The whole of Office 365 is now available as a REST APIs. You can pretty much, if you want to do your own mobile apps or web apps or anything, you can pretty much make use of the Office 365 APIs that are there. So now it is saying me like, hey, you should register your app. So let me just drag this to the left-hand side. I think you guys are not able to see it. Okay, there you go. So now we need to register the app. So the registration is very simple. I just have to click on this link which says register your app. So now you will see that it's actually going to get me in a sign-in form. It's basically the access control server that I was talking about. So now I have to say, okay, this is me. So my domain is on Microsoft.com. I hope you guys don't see my password. I'll say keep me signed in, and let's say sign in. So now what is happening is, Visual Studio knows who I am, and it went and then went to the directory, the access control service, whatever is there, and then there you see what it has done is it has already registered my app. It says signed in as Kashyapa at kashyapazing.onmicrosoft.com. I will say today I'm worried about the sites, so I will say I want to read items in all site collection, edit, create, have full control of, basically I'm just showing you a couple of permissions that are there. You can set permissions for calendar, contacts, mail, my files, users and groups, all this. I just took something and then just left it there. So now my this particular mobile app is now registered with Office 365. So basically it has got registered itself with my SharePoint, which is kashyapazing.sharepoint.com. So it has gone ahead and then registered there. All I have to do is I have to click on OK. I want you to pay close attention to the Solution Explorer here, and then it's already created. In fact, by the time we are doing this, if you see there's a folder called Services, Office 365 Settings, settings.js. So keep looking for what happens now. As soon as I click on OK, you'll see a lot of other files coming up now. So it's saying adding. So there you go. You can see like bunch of files are coming on the left-hand side in the Solution Explorer. So that's if you see here, it also opens up neatly. How do you integrate Office 365 APIs into your .NET Visual Studio projects? Basically, we are not doing a .NET project here. We are working with Cordova project, but you get the point. What they're trying to say. It's like 365 Office 365 API is available. So all this is doing is, if I click on the settings.js, it has taken my client ID. It knows, and the OAuth server is login.windows.net/common/OAuth2, blah blah blah, all those things. And the redirect URI, you need a redirect URI, so they have given a redirect URI. There's a redirect target also here, which can listen to that redirect and then do an appropriate things. And if you look at the scripts, they go ahead and then give a lot of scripts. There is one particular script which says O365 auth.js. So this is nothing but it takes care of all the authentication with the Office 365, meaning go get the access token, store the access token in my local storage so that I can reuse it, all those things. So what I've done in the interest of the time is I've already developed a particular application. I think we're already at the 40-minute mark. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just switch over and then explain you what I've done. So if you remember, I told about we need to include. So now we have done with two things. We have SharePoint, we have the Visual Studio, we created the project, and we also have registered our app with our SharePoint. So we have all the scripts, everything coming back. So we now need to integrate Kendo. So let me show you my Solution Explorer. So integrating with Kendo is fairly simple. If you see here, all you need is one JavaScript file called as kendo.mobile.min.js, and another thing that you need is kendo.mobile.min.css. So don't worry about .all. So I'm just using everything, but you don't need to. We give you another thing called as kendo.mobile.min.css. Sorry, the all.min is pretty much, it contains everything. So the bottom line is you just need one JavaScript, you just need one CSS file to actually make it cross-platform, adaptive rendering, hybrid mobile app. That's all you need. So these two things, and of course the images is for the style sheet. So now I've integrated Kendo also. I've already registered my app with my SharePoint. If I have to show you my what happened, okay. Not scripts, services, and Office 365 settings. So I already registered my, this is the client ID I have, and then these are the auth URI, redirect URI, everything. Now, in order to design a particular mobile app, so in the way you do it with Kendo UI is, first let me just collapse my Solution Explorer. Let me close all my open windows. I was just practicing, so it does everything. So close all windows, and then I'm going to open up very specific ones. So let's take a look at index.html. So this is all you need to create a mobile app. You know your HTML. You can become a hybrid mobile, mobile app developer. So all I'm doing is in terms of Kendo. All it needs is a HTML5 syntax called as data-role. I'm just saying, like, here is a data-role view, and I'm given it a title. I give it an ID, and then basically I'm saying, place a button so that I can do a login. So if you see here, I'm saying do data-click do login, and then I have a layout here. And you need to define a layout. With Kendo, the way Kendo works is you define your views and then you define your layouts. So let me show you the layout. The layout is fairly simple. I've just told that, hey, in my layout I'll have a header. Header will have a navigation bar. Navigation bar will have a back button, and then it will have a view title, and then it will have an index. That's it. But I'm not using this for the login screen because I want login screen to be pretty much empty. Those kind of things. Next, if you look at the JavaScript itself, I have included this JavaScript file, which Office 365, that particular step that we did, connected service step that we did, it provides a JavaScript file. So I have gone ahead and then included that JavaScript file. So if you look at this file, all it is doing is it loads all the other. Let me open that up. Yeah, if you see this, it just loads all the other JavaScript files that are required to work with Office 365 APIs. So, there is auth, discovery, the exchange, SharePoint, settings or dates, all those things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this like this because I need to get authenticated. And then, of course, I have included our Kendo mobile.min.css, and then also I have included our Kendo mobile CSS file. Those two are required. And then, in order to make this as a mobile app itself, what you need to do is you need to have this one-liner which says kendo.mobile.application document.body, and then I'm using a flat theme, meaning I don't care, different themes for different platforms. I want my application to look the same across all platforms. So we give you a flat theme. It looks flat, as the name goes. It's a flat. It doesn't have anything else. So that's what I've done here. I instantiated this application. So now the whole the Kendo mobile application has been instantiated. So I have this login view, and then so there is a JavaScript involved with that. So for example, if I have a button here which says login, and then I'm calling it do login function. So where is this? So this is in a file called as login.js. Fairly simple JavaScript thing that I have done. I have defined a global variable so that I can keep track of the token so that I can reuse it whenever I'm making a communication. And then this is the resource ID that I want to go and then authenticate against. And what I do in the do login is, pardon me for the console.log, I was just playing around, so just let it. So this is what you first do. In the login, you go ahead and then say, you create a context, Office 365 context, and the context has a get access token method. All it does is you pass your resource ID, you pass your client ID, you pass your redirect URI, and then once it is done, I'm saying, hey, once you're done with your getting the access token, then call this particular function called onID token received. In the onID token receive, all I'm doing is I'm setting the token to the global variable so that I can reuse it in other screens. And I want to navigate to this particular page called as views/contacts.html. So let's see how this looks like now. Let me go and then do an F5. So don't worry about the aesthetics of this particular application. As you can see, I've just kept one red button. I don't know. I'm not good at colors, so don't worry about that. But the point here is, so when the application starts, my idea is like, I need him to get authenticated. So I'm going to say login. So now when I click on login, what it does is it will pretty much go ahead and then, yeah, my credentials are already cached in this particular browser. If you notice what has happened, I already, as I said, in the interest of the time, I already coded this particular pages, so, but I will explain you what the code is. So it has already gone to our Office 365, that is SharePoint Online, and remember we had the partners listing, so it has gone ahead and then brought the data, and it is showing this data. But let's take a look at once again what happened with the login procedure. So I do a do login, and then I call the get access token, and then once the token is received, I'm actually setting it to this, and then in fact I'm actually outputting to the console. So let me show you the console so that you do believe me that it is doing the right thing. I'm not sure if you guys can see the console, so let me bring it up. What it is doing is in the console you can see a lot of random characters there. That's the token that I received back from SharePoint, and then I'm storing that in this one. Not only that, the Office 365 the JavaScript file, what it does is it goes ahead and then stores this particular client ID. I don't know if I can zoom this. Oh yeah, I can zoom it. Cool. So this is good. So plus, so if you see here, I'm trying to show you my resources in my browser. So I have a local storage here. So what the Office 365 get access token method does is it goes ahead, does all the OAuth handshake, does all the code exchange, and then gets the token. Once it gets the token, it goes ahead and then puts it into the local storage and says, hey, for this client ID, this is the the client ID, and then these are the access token, and then each token will have an expires, all those things. There is an ID token, there is a refresh token, there is a, the token itself. So it keeps it here. So that's what pretty much it has done as of now. Let me show you the console also now. So the gibberish looking text here, which is this, if you look at here, got access token, and then there's a gibberish looking random character. So that is the token that I already got it. So it's good. We have already got the token. So next thing is to look at how to do this contacts screen. So let's take a look at the contact screen itself. So if you see here, the contact screen is having a list view, and in the list view, I'm just showing you some data. So let me show you quickly how I have built this. Let me close all these guys. So we are done with login. And notice we had actually navigated to the contacts.html. So I'm going to open contacts.html, and this is as simple as it can get. You know, if you're thinking, oh, it's a complex rocket science code that we need to write for, you know, the Kendo UI screens, no, it's as simple as it can get. If you see here, let me just make sure you guys are able to see the code completely. Where is it getting chopped off? It's getting chopped off here. And okay, let me explain what's happening here. So as I said, for Kendo UI, everything is data-role view. So I said, hey, this is another view. In fact, I've kept this inside a folder called views, and let me show you that. Here is views, and then I have contacts, right? So all I've done is data-role view, data-title contacts, given it an ID, and then I'm saying on show I want you to do something. So we'll come back to the JavaScripting in a moment. So, but assume that you know this. I mean, know that this data-show is nothing but an event that the view fires. The Kendo view will fire an event whenever it is shown, whenever it is initialized. It will also fire after show. Before show, show, after show. So this is the kind of events that we fire. So what I'm saying is, when this particular view is being shown, I want to do something. So that's what I've you know, written the JavaScript function name here. And let's take a look at the header. So in the header, I'm saying this is the view title, and then I need a button, and this button should actually this button is used for, you know, doing the add. You know, I want to add a new contact. So that's what it says, and then it will take me to the completely different screen. Now coming back to the list that you saw, so this is as simple as it can get, only 2 lines. You know, let me try to increase it by 160% so that you guys can see it clearly. So if you see here, I'm saying unordered list, UL, and then data-role is a list view. So this is a Kendo UI mobile list view control. So as soon as you say data-role at runtime, this gets converted into a mobile list view. And then I've given it a name. Now you might be wondering, where is the data coming? So I mean, where is the data? How does it get data? So we're going to look at it in a moment. And then also, since it is a list view, I'm defined a template for each item. This is a specific templating language that we use. You know, hash colon or hash equal to. What I'm doing is I'm creating a blueprint saying like, hey, this is the blueprint you should use at runtime for each item that you get in the array, or you know, you get in the list or a collection. And this is how you need to output, and then these are all the placeholder. The hash colon means at runtime the data item that is bound to you will have a property called first name, get its value, put it here. So that's all this is doing. So this is how the view is done. Now let me take a look, let me show you the JavaScripting. So let me, okay, first what I do is, in Kendo UI, we have a fantastic object called as data source. So basically this data source, what it does is it can do the heavy lifting of connecting to a remote endpoint, making sure the JSON data comes back. And once the data comes back, it will convert the JSON into a JavaScript array, bind it to the control. So, you know, everything that you otherwise have to do it manually, this guy can do it for you. You know, all you do is you set it up. So if you look at the code, what I'm saying is, hey, I want to create a new Kendo data source. The type, meaning the service, the type of service it is trying to connect is a OData service. And for reading, I want you to go and then read data from kashapazing.sharepoint.com vti bin list data.svc/partners. And then I'm saying like, hey, I will accept only JSON. You know, don't give me XML, because out of the box, the OData service will return an atom XML format. If you put a specific accept header, they will kind of respect that and then give you whatever you're asking for. Of course, they can give you only atom XML or a JSON. So I'm saying I want to get JSON. I don't want to get atom XML. And here's the interesting part. Remember when we did an authentication, or when we did the login, we stored the token. So now this particular list data.svc/partners is actually secured endpoint now. So how do I get access to that? Well, we are already authenticated the user. So and here we have the token. So we can send the token out, and the SharePoint will actually go ahead, look at the token and say, okay, I think I know this guy, so let me allow him to read the data. So that's what we are doing before send, meaning just about to make that call, I want to put in a header, and this is a typical OAuth authorization header, we call it as authorization header, and then the value is a bearer space the token itself. That's where you have to go and read the data. So that is what I've said. I said go read the data from here. That's all I have to do. Then let's take a look at the function which we had written for on contact show. Remember I said we have a function, I wrote a function data-show as on contact show. What I'm doing is on show, I'm grabbing that unordered list, using jQuery, and then I just have to say kendo.mobile list view. That's all I have to say, and then say data source. Here's a contact data source. Remember we set up the data source just now, and then that's all you need to say. And then template. Each item. How should I, represent them? So we defined a script template. Just now we saw that. I'm just giving that template to this, and I'm setting up certain things like, hey, if listen for the touch event, and somebody may tap on the item. So if they tap, I want you to handle that tap event here on contact tap. All I'm doing is get the user ID for that and navigate to contact edit view.html. Remember, this is something that this is how you do a cross-screen navigation. You just say, hey, Kendo application, I want you to navigate. Here is the URL. So this is all going local view/contact edit view. It's going to be there itself. And I'm passing a query string called as UID. So let me go back to the screen and then show you what exactly happened. So if you see here, if I do a refresh, so let me come back from starting. Now I have the login screen. I can click on login. It immediately goes to the contact screen. Notice that it is loading. That is because at this moment, Kendo data.data source is actually making a call to kashapassing.sharepoint.com/vdibin/list data.svc/partners, and then it is able to get the data. And then if you notice here, I have my first name, last name, and then the company to which this contact belongs to. I have put up that. And now we had put up the touch event or the tap event, so I can just click on tap and it goes to a different screen now, right? So this is the edit screen that I have done. Basically simple stuff. I already have the data that I needed, so I just did the data binding to the data, and then I have a bunch of text boxes, all those things. Now I can come back here, and then let's say I want to spell this as G Nagaraj, and I want to remove this edit here, and then I'll click on done. And what you would see is, it again goes back to the, there you go. If you see here, my first name has removed the edit from the first name, and then now my last name is spelled as G Nagaraj. So let's go back to the SharePoint and then do a refresh here. Let me do a hard refresh. I just want to make sure that you understand that I'm not bluffing. It is happening at live. So if you see here, my last name is G space Nagaraj, and then first name is Lohit. So we did do an edit from a mobile application. So now let me show you the edit, how the edit screen is done. So this is contact edit view. Where is it? It's contact edit view.html. Simple as I said. This is again nothing rocket science here. It's all HTML. So I have an input, and then I'm doing a MVVM kind of data binding. That is, in MVVM you do a two-way data binding. So here is my input, and then I'm doing a data bind value first name. So let's take a look at the JavaScript for this. So what I'm doing is, when this particular view is initialized, find the an item called done. So there is a button on top which says done. So when somebody clicks on when the user clicks on the done, I want you to see if we are in edit mode or if we are in create mode. If we are in create mode, I want you to add this new item into the data source. If we are not in edit mode, what we'll do is, if we are in edit mode, it's because of the two-way data binding with the item in the data source, it already would have got updated itself. I just listen for the change event, and then I call data source.sync. As soon as you call the sync, our data source has this capability to look at all its data items and then see if somebody is added, if somebody is updated, somebody is deleted, and call the appropriate URLs. So let me show you the contacts.js again, and then you will see that I have set up update things here. If you see here, where should it update? It is supposed to update list.svc partners data.id. So basically this is nothing but in a OData protocol, if I want to edit somebody, I need to pass the primary key or the identifier in a bracket. So you say list brackets the ID, the identifier. Oh, you guys are not able to see that, so let me just drag it to the right. Still not able to see it, so let me see what I can do. It's still not. So let me do a full screen and then I'll try to resize this guy. And then I can scroll and then show it to you. So here's this. So you'll see, like, I'm saying partners and then a brackets and then I say data.id. So this is how OData expects you to, this is basically a REST pattern. In REST, it says that, each and every resource in your system should be addressable by an URI. So I'm saying, hey, I have a partners collection, and in the partners collection, I would like to update a partner whose ID is so-and-so. At runtime, this data.id depends on which, record you're editing, and then this is how you get it. And then all I need to do is, since it's a, in order to take concurrency, the way SharePoint does this concurrency is basically you need to pass the E tag along with whatever, when you read it, SharePoint would have given you the E tag. So E tag is nothing but one of the mechanisms in which most of the REST APIs or most of the services, keep track of the concurrency. So when I read something, I get a E tag, and when I want to update that particular item, I need to send back that E tag. If somebody has already updated that particular record, the E tags won't match, and then the server will say, hey, I think your data is old. You should refresh and then come back again. So it will send me back saying like, hey, I don't match. You are editing actually. I mean, somebody before you, somebody has already updated it. So that's how they do the concurrency. So I need to pass my E tag to this particular a function. Before send, I need to create that. Similarly, I have a create URL setup. While creating, all you do is you just point the data source to the collection root. So partners is the collection, and then that's it. We're going to go put a new record onto the partners collection itself. And so that's what we have done. And let me just put this back. And in the contact edit.js, let me show you what I do when the show method happens. So when the screen is loaded, I will see if you are editing or you are editing the a particular partner, or are you trying to add a new partner. There is a plus button on the top. So if I don't get any user ID, so I know it is in a edit mode. Otherwise, it's a new mode. So that's what I've created an if else here, and then all I do is I do an MVVM binding here. So let me show you that. So if you see here, I'm just saying kendo.bind this model. So if you notice the HTML, I had put a lot of data dash bind value colon first name. So this is the data binding that Kendo framework gives you out of the box. So I don't have to manually keep track of the data that got changed. I don't have to manually keep track of, okay, now the form is getting submission, so let me go read from all the input types. So I don't have to do that. As soon as the user types into the text box, the model is updated with this value, and when I want to save, I just have to use that model as is and then just push it to the server side. So that is what is being done. So create happens at the create URL level. So let me go ahead and then create a new partner here. Let's say I want to create a partner called Abhishek, and the company is Kant Inc. and business phone will give something. So 10 and then 454545. Email is kant@kant.com, and I can do it done here. If all goes well, we should have the data pushed into the collection, and then we should see Abhishek coming up on the contacts list itself. So this is the typical business scenario that I wanted to address with, I have SharePoint, I go on the field and I want to do it. So now let's go back and then see if it did really make it to the SharePoint. And here it is. So we have Abhishek Kant coming up here. I can click on Abhishek Kant's data, and I can say view item. And there you go. So we have Abhishek Kant, Kant@kant.com, Kant Inc., and then the business phone and the home phone. So, so typically, so you have now mobilized your SharePoint data. In a way, if you look at it, so I have some, quick things that I want to do when I'm mobile. So this is something that we normally face from a lot of customers saying like, oh, I want to go mobile, but they don't know what things should be on mobile. It's not that you give the complete functionality of your website into your mobile. Rather, it's like I'm now on the field. Immediately, I should take some decision. Immediately, I should create something. Immediately, I should approve something. So those are the kind of things that should go mobile. And then this scenario that I'm trying to talk about today is only context, but I can build this particular application to any level, right? I can have any number of lists that you have. I can bring it onto mobile just to I'm on the field and I want to quickly create this contact. Okay, go ahead. I can just go ahead and then create it. Let's say I'm meeting a partner after a year, and then I can say, hey, is this your business phone correct? Is this your home phone correct? Oh no, it has changed. Okay, just give me. I'll update it immediately. So that is the kind of scenarios that can be mobilized. Those are the kind of things that can be done. And what I've showcased you today is using this project template called as hybrid device multi-platform apps. You can pretty much do that, and the Kendo UI mobile control set can be used to actually write this code once and then run it on any platform. And then I have put up a flat theme, meaning I didn't care about different platform OS things. I've said this application should look like this on Windows Phone, on Android or iOS or a BlackBerry. But you can just go ahead and then remove that skin is equal to flat. And what it does is, if you package this to an Android, it will look like an Android UI. If you package this to an iOS, it will look like an iOS UI. If you package this to Windows Phone, it will look like a Windows Phone UI. So it's basically adaptive rendering. It adapts to the platform it is running in, and then it pretty much goes ahead and then does that. So this is complete reading, creating, and then updating scenario that we have done. Of course, I can go in and then do a delete also. You swipe from the right, we will show you a delete button, and then you can click on that and then delete a partner. So that also can be done, but I just ran out of time, and then pretty much I left it at reading and then updating and then creating. So as I said, no PPT today, but the things that I wanted to cover was predominantly these things. Like, I have a SharePoint online and I want to go ahead and create a mobile app, or I want to mobilize my SharePoint data. So I use Visual Studio 2013 and then multi-platform hybrid apps extension that we have, and then I use the Kendo UI mobile control set in order to give the adaptive rendering UI and build a mobile app. And next thing would be to package it and then just put it to the store. So I hope you pretty much got an idea as to how things can be done. Office 365 is a good platform if you're doing all the collaborations, all those things. It's hosted, and they have opened up all the things for you as a REST API. Pretty much most of the things that you want to do can be done as a REST API, and everything like mail, contacts, lists, everything is available as a REST API, and then you can pretty much write your own thing. It's not limited to mobile apps. You can, since the APIs are available, it can be done as a Windows Phone, it can be done as a hybrid apps, it can be done as a Windows Store app, it can be done as a web application. The possibilities are many, and today we focused on writing a hybrid app, connecting to SharePoint, mobilizing your SharePoint data. And that's pretty much it that I had for 1 hour. So I think we are 7 minutes overboard.